3, 2, 1.
What's up everyone, Dan here, Crypto Capital Venture, August 28th, 2018. I hope you're doing well. In this video, we are going to talk about the one bullish indicator, in my opinion, and we're also going to dive into some really pretty looking charts. We have a lot going on, a lot to look out for in Bitcoin, so let's just jump right in and talk about it. So let's start with that one bullish indicator that I see forming and happening on Bitcoin right now. It's something that we've been talking about since all the way up here when we were at $8,100 at this previous lower high in Bitcoin. And we started talking about this weekly inverse head and shoulders in formation. And what makes it so bullish is not just simply that it's an inverse head and shoulders and there might be a possible breakout at play. What makes it bullish is the fact that in this continued downtrend of these lower lows, that downtrend, that pattern of lower lows gets broken in an inverse head and shoulders. That's what makes it so powerful. Because as you can see, we have these lower lows happening in Bitcoin. And then what happens is there is no next lower low. We actually have a higher low. And that's the possible potential bottom for Bitcoin. Do I think that's going to happen? I'm not quite there yet, but we're going to jump into the daily right now. And we're going to look at why I'm not quite there yet. And before we jump into that, I want to just show a quick clip of a video I did a couple weeks ago. That $7,200 area to the neckline is, I think, a nice target of where we can look for resistance. And there it is. I mean, there's that triangle right there that we have on the screen is the resistance area for Bitcoin that I am personally watching. So one thing is true, before we jump into that daily chart that you just saw, one thing is true is we've been doing an excellent job. And I have to say that because we get a lot of comments on the channel where people are like, don't listen to this guy. But we've been doing a really good job, in my opinion, of anticipating what's happening next. If you remember this previous lower low, we really anticipated a run up for a lower high. And then from that lower high, we anticipated a pullback. So now you can see in that last clip from 2 weeks ago, we've anticipated this potential breakout that we're in the middle of right now. So on the daily chart, what you can see is there's a ton going on. Here's that triangle that you saw in that clip that we just looked at, and that's that really key area of resistance. So what are those areas of resistance? First off, the first major area of resistance that we wanted to break, and we recently did, is this 50 EMA right there. That's a great sign for Bitcoin in terms of at least approaching this resistance area, because as you know, in these downtrends, Bitcoin does not break the 50 EMA. It approaches it, right? It approaches it, but it bounces down and off of it. And that's kind of what it does until it gets snapped back and finally does break through it. And then that's when a confirmed breakout is really in play. So that recently happened. We have that 50 EMA break. Now what's next? First, we're going to talk about this resistance on the Fibonacci. But let's visit what happened in the previous lower highs, because it's really probably our best data point in terms of history. So first off, we have this lower high to this low. And you can see that this lower high right here saw rejection right above the 618 on Fibonacci. The 618 to 786 channel on Fibonacci, extreme area of resistance and support on the flip side. So that's that lower high. Then from that lower high, and let me get the retracement. From that lower high to this low, we have the same thing. You can see resistance right at the 618 on the Fibonacci. So we have resistance at the 618. So we can take the Fibonacci from this lower high to this low, and we can kind of just get a gauge of where this channel is. And you can see on the screen, and I'll get rid of the Fibonacci, you can see we have the 618 to the 786. So here is that 618 where we saw previous resistance on the last two lower highs. So that's right around $7,500. So that is a huge area of resistance to look out for right now in terms of Bitcoin. Obviously, there's a lot of confluence happening in that 618 area, because next on our list we have the 200 EMA area of resistance. another huge area that Bitcoin needs to break. So that $7,500 up to like $7,600 is a huge area to look out for in terms of Bitcoin resistance. It's probably a huge area to be prepared for and be careful around. Tread lightly is, I guess, what I would say. So next, after that area of resistance, if we can break through that, we have the neckline. The neckline is really, if we revisit the weekly inverse head and shoulders, the neckline is just this downward upper trend line. So that neckline right there is, that's really that confirmed bullish breakout, that potential bullish breakout. Because once we have that possible inverse head and shoulders formation, that's when we can really start getting semi-bullish. And I say semi-bullish because we have that last area, that last huge area of resistance, and that is right here, this previous lower high, and we can just call it like $8,400. So right there is a huge area to look out for if this uptrend continues. We have a ways to go. I'm not trying to get ahead of ourselves, but I really want to kind of lay out the path, lay out the framework of what a bullish breakout, of what a potential bottom for Bitcoin might look like. And there it is. We have a ton of things to break through. The 50 EMA, which we broke through, the Fibonacci resistance at 618, which we're hopefully approaching, that 200 EMA, which is confluent with the Fibonacci resistance, the neckline on the weekly head and shoulders, and then we have this previous lower high, which ultimately is what we need to break. So I mentioned in other videos leading up to this point, for me, in order for me to get bullish, really that previous lower high, that's what we would need to break for me personally to get bullish. So, and that could look something like this too. We might break this neckline, and this is when, you know, I'm really going to begin watching this closely. Is if we break this neckline and we get that possible, you know, confirmed reverse head and shoulders, and maybe we see some resistance on this previous lower high, we come back down and we test that neckline. And if we see support there, that could be the true confirmation of a bullish breakout where we see new higher highs. And, you know, I don't know exactly how this will play out, but this is why I'm always keenly aware to see how Bitcoin breaks really crucial areas of resistance. And I'm not going to throw a prediction out there or anything like that, because right now, what I'm being prepared most for is a new lower high in Bitcoin. And I don't say that to be bearish or anything like that, but we've gotten lower highs over and over again. So until I'm proven otherwise, I'm going to anticipate that most strongly. And the reason I'm going to anticipate that most strongly is because if we do get a bounce off this area and we kind of come back down, it just creates more opportunity to accumulate, right? So on the flip side of that, if we do get a breakout and we kind of hit a bottom, then really that's just going to be an enjoyable ride. We're going to sit back, relax, and I don't need to be as prepared for the bullish breakout. I'm happy with my portfolio right now in terms of if we did get a bullish breakout. But I always want to anticipate and be ready for the downside so that I can accumulate more cheap Bitcoin. So the downside would be resistance here, bouncing back down, maybe seeing support here, maybe not, maybe seeing new lower lows, $5,100. And, I know we're at $7,000 and the market is bullish right now, but we always have to look into the future a little bit based off historical data so that we can be ready for anything. And that includes the downside, because the downside is where we have the opportunity to accumulate. So those are my thoughts. That's really what to look out for right now in terms of Bitcoin. I wanted to make this short and sweet but powerful because, in my opinion, there is a ton of value right now on the charts. There's so much going on, so much to look out for. So we're gonna track this pretty closely. If you really want to track it closely on the 4 hour, 4 hours is also very synergistic with what we just went over, because we have this upper trend line. You can see possibly maybe acting as resistance soon, right around $7,200, because we have these higher highs and higher lows in this upward wedge. And so if we see resistance at the upper trend line here, that's around $7,200, and we can kind of bring it back around and look at, well, where's that $7,200 area on this chart. The $7,200 area is right around this white line that we have here, which could be really our first area of resistance in terms of Bitcoin. So on the shorter term, that doesn't mean we're not going to break through it after we come back down a little bit, but just be prepared for that. And on the 4-hour, if we do see resistance here, I would say to look out for possible support at this 200 EMA on the 4-hour, and that would be very bullish looking sign on the short term. So there's your short term indicators, some things you want to look out for, but we have a lot going on. We're definitely going to track it. If you're not on Twitter, follow me on Twitter. I try and, watch these charts a little bit more in depth. And then otherwise, obviously, we will be tracking this on here. We'll do another video, maybe even later today or tomorrow. I really appreciate you coming by. I really do. Thank you for all your comments. Hit that like button if you found this video valuable. As always, I will see you in the next video, and God bless.